The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Well, it's a little different, setup because of time. But 2 years ago when we played Limestone, we played there, and it was like I think it was a 1 o'clock game. I think that's what it was, and you travel a little bit different, but it's a 6 o'clock game. We are their homecoming game, so we have to know how to travel and how we go about. It's a different situation with a bunch of young kids that, we made the overnight trip to Wingate, and approximately the travel, once you're there, it'll be sort of like the travel that it will be Saturday for us. The only difference is we'll sleep in our own beds, and then we'll get up and have breakfast together around 9 o'clock, 9:30, and then we'll have meetings over here and get on the road, and we'll have a pregame meal on the way and get in there in time to get dressed and get ready to play.
Coach Fury's bunch sitting 3-2 in the top of the South Atlantic Conference standings. What's enabled them to have some early season dramatic success, all three of their wins in overtime?
Well, all their wins in overtime and all their wins that come from behind wins, that's impressive. To have that much resolve about you, that has that much belief, and I've watched them in overtime, and they've scored either the first snap or they've scored the second snap, in overtime. So, there's a football team. Mike's got them playing with a high level right now, high intensity, and I'm sure it'll be a different kind of crowd over there with it being homecoming on Saturday night in Gaffney. So we'll have to be ready to play.
Big play threats, kind of like what you faced at Catawba. Donson Fleming, 8 catches, 218 yards, 4 scores, rating South Atlantic Conference Offensive Player of the Week. What sticks out to you about that wide receiver? Well,
it's speed. It's speed, and it's ability. He makes some catches that are they're not the normal catches. He goes up and gets the football, and he's a competitor, and you honor those kind of guys. You know what I mean? You respect them, and so we've got to be sound in coverage. We've got to make sure that we've got underneath and above, over the top coverage on him. But the main thing there is getting a pass rush.
You got that this past week against Catawba. How do you use the effort all the way around as kind of a jumping off point for the final 6 weeks of this season?
Right. Well, we've had great effort in 5 games. We've had great excitement in 5 games. We've faced some adversity in those 2 of those games. Saturday was a culmination or like, hey, we finally got it done type of deal. We did well in the third quarter. I'd like for us to finish better, and we're addressing that about finishing in the fourth quarter. We gave up a big play on defense, and we didn't finish a couple things on offense. So we're a work in progress. We're still a work in progress, but man, do I like the way they're playing and the way they're playing together as a group and the way they back each other as a group.
How much easier are those teachable moments from the fourth quarter after a game like Saturday?
Oh, there's no questions. Like I told you, God's allowed the sun to come up both those weeks on Sunday morning after we lost. Sunday morning the sun came up, but it sure was a whole lot brighter after winning. So I think you can teach a whole lot more, obviously after you win. But I've been impressed with our kids that, we've had those 2 heartbreaks, those 2 games we've lost by 2 snaps in reality. But they have come back with a determination about them that, hey, we know we can play with folks. We know we can be a good football team. So we're really, really excited about their work habits yesterday and meetings and video and things. I think we'll be ready to play.
You mentioned the fact that potentially you're 2 snaps away from being undefeated at this point in the year. What has impressed you the most about this team's intestinal fortitude so far?
Oh, it's a group effort. It's we're young. We really don't have a lot of leaders, on our football team. You pick out 4 guys here and 4 guys there. We're still in the process of building leadership, but more are they doing it together, and they're calling on each other. That is leadership. But just their determination to get it done, their ability, I guess, to support each other. That's what I talked to them about yesterday in the team meeting. You showed some things that some football teams don't necessarily have, and I've really been proud of them. And somewhere over the weekend I heard this and told them, I said, make sure you're humble, because be humble. If you're not humble, humility will find you. So we want to make sure we're good and humble this week, and we're going to have a great practice day today, and make it a challenge today in practice so that they understand about how you got to go back to work. You go back to work today just like you would any other week.
Passing game was extremely effective the first couple weeks of the year while you dedicated your team to the run on Saturday. How did that help that group gain some confidence in the ability to run the football again?
Oh, I think it did. I think that going 2 tight ends, we did what we thought we had to do to give us the best opportunity to, number one, to hold the football, to keep Catawba's offense off the field, to give our kids some confidence in just lining up and say, here it is, this is what we're going to do, and execute the offense. And I was really, really proud of them. I could be a whole lot more proud of them after I could change those grades a little bit, where we're still not there yet. We're a long way from being where we need to get to, but I think there's a blessing in that because they're seeing like, boy, we did this. What if we were able just to continue to do this? And I think a consistency deal, offensively and defensively, is what we're looking for. You know, has not been a letdown, but it's just being consistent and knowing that I have to do this. We're in a position as a football team that we've got to play lights out on both sides of it to be competitive.
Dimitri Salisbury stepped up in the backfield. How has he been able to work himself into that rotation?
Well, there's a guy that is consistent. Okay, he is. He's not world-class speed by any means, but he's world-class heart. He's the kind of kid that's great to be on this football team. He's a guy that people love to be around. He's a guy that you know you can depend on. Dimitri Salisbury is never going to get you beat. Okay, he's going to do his deal. And to watch him break some runs, you know, the week ago against Newberry, and then watch him come in there and break some runs Saturday against Catawba, that was just awesome for our kids.
You got a bit of playing time out of Hayden Hester and Jacob Taylor on the offensive line on Saturday. What have those two done to work themselves pretty heavily into the rotation?
Well, we talked about it all as offensive staff about Hayden and Jacob. We've got to keep those kids in there fresher. We're going at a tempo and that we run on offense, and we've pushed some guys. You know what I mean? You're talking about being consistent, but there's a part about keeping that tank full. Playing some guy 10 snaps here or 15 snaps, giving another guy a chance to, you know, to gas it up a little bit. That's the way you prepare to go down the long run, and we're in the long run now. We're 5 games into it. This will be the midway point, and you know, we've talked all along since fall camp about being the freshest team. I can throw out healthiest, but about being the freshest team right now, and we've got to do that. And we've got to rotate some kids in there and get them snaps.
Limestone's Ivan Corbin, solid dual threat quarterback. How do you defend him?
Well, he's one of those guys that you have to keep him contained. Okay, he has to be contained. He's going to hurt you a whole lot more with his feet, probably, than anywhere else. Okay, that's either breaking containment, keeping it on their little option deal, the read option, and so he's a young man that you have to eyeball him, you have to spy him, you have to keep him inside.
How does he compare to other mobile quarterbacks you faced, and Nick Jones from Newberry and DJ Johnson from St. Aug?
Yeah, he's more like the kid from St. Aug as far as you better keep him in the pocket. He gets outside, he's got receivers that understand how a route breaks down and find an opening, but he's that guy that gets it on the corner, he's going to tuck it and go and hurt you.
You mentioned consistency. For a fan who looks at the stats and sees that you averaged 5.86 yards a carry against Catawba, how can they see consistency developing on the field? If they were to look at that and say, well, 5.8 yards a carry, they had to have been consistent.
Sure. Well, you know, if you look at it in the last few weeks, and I'm not much of a stat guy, but, you know, we've been averaging 5, something like that per carry, all right? And we told our kids a couple things. We told them 3 things Saturday. Number 1 was we had to have a 4-yard mentality. That's what's been around this offense for years, keep a 4-yard mentality. Then you have a chance to break one for 30 or 40 yards. The second thing was take care of the ball. We did that. We had a 4-yard mentality. We took care of the football. The third one was eliminate dumb penalties, and we're working on that. We're still not there yet, but we're working on it.
You had spoke about confidence earlier, and beating a number 23 team like what just happened this past weekend, coming off of a couple losses, how important is it to rebuild that confidence heading into another road game?
Oh, I think it's very comfortable. You're at a, we talked to him, and I talked to Adam earlier about this. Read him the verse out of Hebrews where it talks about believing things unseen. There are things unseen, and sometimes when you're in ball games and you got control of the ball game, then something happens and you don't have control of the ball game and you lose it. If you're going to be what we say we are, and we're going to believe, you've got to know that there's something there beyond that part of it. And I think, and then part of that goes with it is that God can give you eyes where you can see things that other people can't see. And I was very proud of our kids because I thought they really played like they had a vision Saturday. I was really proud of them.